Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Bed Tech Show. We're your hosts, Ben and Ethan, and we're excited to bring you some good old tech news here at bedtime. We're going to get back to our roots and we're going to just dive in with the latest tech news that we've got for you. First thing that we've got up for you is NVIDIA has just unveiled their chat with RTX. So this is a pretty interesting new development that is going on with NVIDIA, and I think they are starting to pave the way for how you're going to be able to interact with AI. So this was kind of a tech bombshell that they announced, and they just rolled out their chat with RTX. This is an AI chatbot that runs locally on your RTX GPU on your computer rather than being a cloud-based AI. It's basically great for using the power of your GPU and having the privacy of your own ecosystem and not having to go into the cloud. And it's going to train on your own data, like your documents, email, YouTube videos, and make it uniquely personal to you as the user. And with how NVIDIA's technology has evolved here in the last few years, it's going to be lightning fast and incredibly accurate. So NVIDIA is making some big moves here, not just in gaming, but now we get to interact with our own tech in more of a personal level, and you can kind of get a glimpse of the future and what NVIDIA might be doing here as we go forward. So I kind of wanted to get your opinion. What do you think? What do you think of this model? Do you think this is going to be the future of AI, or do you think this is just going to be kind of like an additional way we interact with AI in our lives?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Um, I think more and more businesses, especially in the technology industry, are going to provide this AI personalization. And what I mean by that is I think a lot of people are going to be adopting custom LLMs for the relevant situation that they're in. So for example, uh, businesses might use a data analyst or Power BI or some kind of BI tool, business intelligence tool, and they're going to have their own enterprise, business minded LLM where you can chat about your business analysts or your business analysis and your charts that you want to create. And then you have, YouTube will probably have a chatbot, will like allow you to tell the chatbot, hey, this is a playlist I want for the next 4 hours or whatever it might be. I just think the adoption of having personalized large language models and chatbots is going to be the way of the future. I think that's like an easy win for companies to do now. I think ChatGPT and Bard, which is rebranded, by the way.
Thank
Um,
goodness.
yeah, I know. I think those are the foundations and the all-encompassing, large language model examples. But I like the idea of niching down into different categories, different verticals, different industries, and having a personalized chatbot that is intelligent enough that you can train for each situation in your life. Um, I really like this idea of having this on your computer. I think this plays more out to like a Jarvis than, from like Iron Man. That's my
Mhm.
reference there. Than maybe like Chat GPT does, because Chat GPT is such a generalist that you have to prompt it with heavy prompts beforehand with
Mhm.
every situation. Whereas I hope that this scenario is more of a large language model that learns you and your personality and your character traits and can combine all of those aspects to really just build a personal assistant for you in any aspect of your daily life. I like that idea of it. Whereas I look at ChatGPT as more of like, this is a generalist where any situation I want to come up with, I can apply to ChatGPT, but I have to give it a really thorough prompt beforehand
Mhm.
to prime it, right? And so that's kind of my thought. And again, I think this will be an easier adoption of machine learning across the board for companies in the tech world. And we're going to see it segmented into different industries and in different niches. With that being said, I'm curious about with this chat with RTX. I'm really curious about the data storage being local and not cloud, and if that's going to have a significant limitation on how much you can train the model. And maybe I'm misunderstanding that, but what are your thoughts around that being local based versus cloud based?
Yeah, I think like it comes with great benefits and then also comes with some trade-offs with that. I
Yeah.
think I think the local aspect of it is really cool because that you can really dial in your privacy and you don't have to worry about confidential, sensitive information going out onto the web, for instance, and then being accessible to anyone who is using that service. And I think it's really great for me in my professional industry, being in healthcare, also being in the legal field. I can now like use this and use an LLM for confidential information because it's just stored locally on my own system. The
Yeah.
downside though is that since it's not going out into the internet, you do you lose some functionality of you being able to use additional tools as part of that
Mm,
LLM. And it'd be nice to kind of have both of those where you could access stuff from the web. And I think probably um, you might be able to, and it's like future iterations of this as NVIDIA rolls out some additional updates to this, you might be able to query the web to access that information, but your information doesn't get pushed out into the web for that.
yeah. Yeah,
So
good pros and cons. Definitely good pros and cons. Yeah, it'll be so interesting how this really plays out. Do you think this puts it at a higher competitive aspect on the market from like a consumer perspective?
I think it does. I think, this is like a great feature that NVIDIA rolled out for essentially free as part of their products that they have. And now this makes not that NVIDIA needs more market share. They have enough anyway. But I mean, this now like kind of pushes them into the edge, like, oh, if somebody was teetering on the edge, well, now I could use my RTX not only for gaming, but also to have this local LLM on my own rig.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder if AMD is going to come out with something similar. I assume they are. If they're not already in flight, they're definitely probably spinning up a team to get on it. But yeah, I agree. I do think this adds maybe not a huge significant edge because people can still use the cloud-based large language models, but I do think it's an added benefit for sure.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's just another tool that I have to access. I mean, we've got quite an array of LLMs out there right now, and so now this is just an
Yeah.
additional tool that we can use for whatever specific situation you have. I don't think there's one that does everything enough to the point where it's the only one that I need right now. So it's nice to have some additional tools to go to.
Yeah. One more question for you based on just like where my mind's going with the future. If we ever do want to get to a Jarvis level of artificial intelligence, do you think it'll come to people just having their own servers off grid or off site, for example, but it's not internet based? Like, I don't know how you do that. Somehow you hooked up directly to this server. It's gotta be internet based somehow, but maybe just private in some aspect in one shape or form. Um, I'm just thinking like, what's the future going to be like if people want to grow and develop their own personalized chatbot assistant, artificial intelligence, machine learning, whatever you want to refer to it as. I know there's a difference between machine learning and artificial intelligence, but those are starting to blend. And so as people develop their own personalized version of that, how does that look in the future from a commercial perspective? So what are your thoughts there?
I think like the only way that I can kind of comprehend that, and I think the only way you can do that is like you've got to kind of sandbox your environment from the web. I mean, I think you can still like capture data from the web, but prevent it from going to the web as it's learning. And then you have to have the hardware locally on site wherever you are to process that information.
Mm.
And so I don't know if that answers your question, but I think that's the only way that could work. If you wanted like a personalized assistant, you would have to have it sandboxed in a way that it wouldn't push personal sensitive information out, but still captures data that's already there and that others may be putting into it.
I wonder if this like I wonder if this is going to create a new business venture where you're going to see third party servers or companies that manage your personal server for your personal large language model, and you can access on site if you'd like, but they have it sandboxed, privacy, top tier encryption for security purposes, whatever it might be. um, I can see that being like a future business created because of this situation.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we provide the servers for you to develop a uh I don't know, top tier, advanced level large language model customized to your daily life and needs. Um, yeah, I can kind of see that potentially happening. Because I assume people just don't want to have to deal with managing it on their own, dealing with maintaining data and storage of all the data that's feeding it.
Hmm.
And so I can see a company spinning up and saying, "Hey, we'll do that all for you, and we'll make sure it's very secure somehow, some way." I don't know.
Yeah. And I mean, there'd be even people that don't have the know how to do that. And so having that type of model would be beneficial.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, you could even have that company have a consulting service that says, "We'll create it for you. You just meet with one of our actual individuals, tell us all the data that you like, information you like, or give us the resources you like, and then we'll feed it for you, and then we'll
Hmm.
tweak it for you as time goes on."
Yeah. Hmm.
All right, let's make some calls and get this going.
Okay, let's do it. Yeah. Start it up. I like it.
Yeah,
Oh,
really interesting article though.
yeah. What do you have for us tonight?
All right, I'm gonna go through Xbox. So
Nice.
yeah, I'm a gamer at heart. And so I want to give an update on Xbox. There was a lot of rumors about Xbox potentially stopping. Oh, did I freeze? I'm not. I'm
No, you're
lagging.
good. You're kind of lagging, but all
My
good.
bad. I got to get my internet up to speed, literally. So, but yeah. So Xbox. There were rumors about Xbox potential issues with not issues, but potential Xbox stopping their hardware, and there were rumors that they weren't going to make any more consoles, that they were only going to go virtually to sorry, my computer's going so slow. Virtually going just to virtual games, Game Pass, and then sharing exclusives across to multiple consoles. And so I don't know why this is going so slow. I apologize. But essentially, the announcement came this week that Xbox is going to continue with a very robust multi-year hardware roadmap, which I interpret as lots of consoles coming down the line. We don't have anything to worry about. They did announce that they will be doing game sharing across different platforms, so PlayStation and Nintendo Switch, which is, in my opinion, I think that's good. I do think that's good. I think Xbox is trying to avoid looking like the bad guy here. I think the acquisitions of Activision and a couple other studios um, put them into some bad light. So they're trying to share some games so they look like they're the good guys and just want gaming to be good. Um, and so they're going to be sharing a couple of, I think there's 4 games. Um, let's see, Xbox to take 4 exclusive video games to PS5 and Switch. And those, I have it pulled up here. Sorry, I closed the article because I think it was slowing down my computer, so I opened a different one. Um, let's see, the first big one's Diablo 4, which will be on PC and Xbox March 28th.
And it's going to be
And
on Game Pass too, which I thought was
oh,
really
really?
cool. Yeah.
I did not know it was going to. Well, I mean, that makes sense. It's going to be on Game Pass. Um, Sea of Thieves and Grounded. I know Sea of Thieves has a pretty good cult following.
Mhm.
Hi-Fi Rush and Pentiment, and I don't know anything about those two, but for those who are listening, maybe you guys can chime in and tell us a little bit more about those games. But the one that really stuck out was Sea of Thieves for me. And that's to me that's pretty big to share across to the other platforms, Switch and PlayStation. So I think that's good. What are your thoughts on this take? Are you excited that they're doing hardware? Are you excited that they're sharing exclusives? What do you think this is good for Xbox? What are your excuse me, what are your thoughts here?
I think it's going to be good for Xbox. When I initially heard the rumors that they were going to be stopping it, I wasn't too surprised because I know that like their hardware, at least their console hardware, is a loss leader for their
Yeah.
business model.
Hmm.
And I know Xbox has been struggling a little bit as far as like sales. I know they've had pretty good sales this generation, but they still haven't been able to match the PlayStation, even though Xbox has done a phenomenal job of coming out with uh, better hardware, in my opinion, is just looking at the hardware as it stands.
Yeah, I think
But
this last generation especially.
yeah, I mean, it's significantly powerful. I feel you can do more with it than you can with a PlayStation, and um, but I think them bringing uh, some of their exclusives to multi-platform is really good for gaming. I'm not sure whether that's going to help their hardware sales or
Yeah.
help them. And so I don't know if that's the right move if they're wanting to push hardware sales. But if they're wanting to gain revenue from those games, I think that's perfect. That's a great model to share it, give it access to as many people as possible. And maybe that's really what they're going for, because with their games, they will get more revenue than they would with hardware sales. So rather than try and stifle that, give it to as many people as possible.
Yeah, I think you make a really good point there. It's kind of like they, you know, maybe the rumors came from internal discussions of do we keep hardware? Do we not keep hardware? And based on the fan base reaction, it was pretty negative about the removal of hardware.
Hmm.
So maybe Xbox is thinking, okay, obviously fans want hardware, so we keep hardware at a loss. But how do we make up for that loss? Well, we got to increase our game sales somehow because that's profitable, especially digital sales, right?
Hmm.
Like $60 for a digital game, that's a cut and paste thing, right?
Yeah.
So how do you how do you sell more? You got to expand the market. So you sell across to other platforms, and maybe that might reduce their hardware sales, but like if they're at a loss, maybe
That doesn't
that's
matter. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. And I guess it depends like, is the loss like sunk cost based on the production and R&D and development, or is it like per production of each unit it's a loss, right? Because
Hmm.
that comes into play. This is my accounting mind right here. That comes into play with, well, it doesn't matter how many units we make because we already are losing X million dollars on just the R&D alone. So,
Right.
um, it just kind of all depends on their overall strategy and their finances. But I think what you're saying kind of aligns with my thought process of I think they're keeping the hardware for the fans, not for profit, and they're expanding what games they provide to PS5, Switch, Game Pass on PC in order to be more profitable, have better PR, and I think just fan base overall, like even if it's not related to PR, I think just fans and the gaming community overall are like, cool, more games for everyone. That's
Yeah.
awesome. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I was really happy to hear that they're continuing the consoles because bang for buck, consoles are hard to beat. So hard to beat,
Yeah.
bro.
I mean, I I could not build a a apples to apples PC version of the Xbox. I could come really close, but I'd have to skimp out on a lot of other choices for that. And I mean,
Yeah.
I know a lot of people have tried, and I know a few people have come really close to matching that, but consoles just value for dollar, they provide quite a bit.
Yep.
Is huge. And one thing that I think, like, if Xbox was really wanting to push revenue from their games, I think the easiest solution would be put everything in Game Pass that's going to be and allow Game Pass to be on PlayStation and Nintendo Switch. And if anyone wants to play that, they have to subscribe to Game Pass.
Yeah, like paywall their
Yeah.
games.
Yeah, just paywall all their games. Like, yeah, we're gonna give it to you all, but it has to be through Game Pass.
Yeah, that's a pretty gnarly move. I'm not gonna lie, that would be pretty gnarly. Um, I can see why they would do that. Like you're saying, if they really want to be profitable, that's the way to go. Subscription plan is the best way to have it from a profit standpoint. But I don't think they'll do that. I mean, I like the idea. You're right. You're not wrong in the way that that's the way to be most profitable. But I think you and I both understand that's probably not what they're going to do, just because
Yeah.
of politics and uh, user engagement and community feedback, stuff like that. But I agree with you 100%. That's the way to be profitable if they really want that.
Yeah. That would be the Tim Cook way of doing things.
Do you think Xbox will ever break into? Well, no, that's a dumb question. Um, Maybe not actually. Do you think they'll ever break into like PC hardware? I mean, we have the what's their laptop?
The
Um,
Surface
the Surface Pro. We have that, but like I'm talking about like desktop.
desktop class.
Yeah,
You know, that would be kind of interesting. Like if they made PC hardware.
yeah. Because like if they're moving a lot to Game Pass, which they are, right? PC is really the ones. I mean, maybe not, but I think PC gets the most benefit out of it.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I'm just curious. Maybe there's more profit in PC hardware because it is you can price it, competitively with the other options out in the market, and consoles are so efficient with their price to power ratio. I'll say that. they could probably make more money with their hardware on the PC level. So I'm curious to see if they'll do that, you know?
Yeah, that would be really interesting. I mean, because that was kind of like one of my motivations for moving to PC is because nearly everything on the Xbox is on PC. I mean, minus a few things. And I still have an Xbox anyway for those things, but I only play one game anyway. So
No,
but
there's not enough time to play it all. That's the
I
problem.
know. If I didn't have kids and I wasn't married, I would have all the time in the world to play video games.
Yep. Same.
But but yeah, so it would be really interesting if they moved into some PC hardware. But I think they've kind of got it. I think probably what would be the most efficient if they would go into like PC peripherals instead.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's fair. Yeah, instead of trying to play with the big boys in like actual hardware inside your desktop, um, I can see them breaking out into peripherals. They kind of already have, you know,
Yeah.
not just with the Elite controllers, but like the adaptive like controllers that people have for special needs, things like that. They've already kind of broken out into that.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think you're right. I think because they're already in that space, if they're going to go anywhere, that's probably at least that would be like the first area to go into. So
Yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, this
cool.
is really cool.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see what their robust roadmap is, which is what they said. So I'm
Yeah.
excited. I'm excited.
I loved how they use the word robust.
Me too. Very robust.
Very robust. Well, speaking of robust, OpenAI has announced their new Sora videos, which is another milestone for learn language models and some kind of while this is simultaneously really impressive, I find it very frightening at the same time. And it's seeing how Sora has in some of the early videos that have come up with it, it's hitting me in ways that I didn't really expect. So I don't know if you ever remember like a year ago, we saw the video of Will Smith eating spaghetti. I don't know if you ever saw that.
Yeah, I
And
did.
and it was okay. I mean, like it was surprisingly what AI was able to do to generate that, but you could tell that,
It was AI.
yeah, you could tell that it was AI and there was some quite a few limitations to that. Now we've come a year later. OpenAI has released Sora to a very select few, and it's becoming harder and harder to tell what is AI generated. And I could dare say that those who are like untrained and not looking for it would have a hard time determining whether it is AI generated or not. So I found some of these videos and I think it'd just be kind of cool to see how bananas they are.
Gwen Stefani. This shiz is bananas.
Yes.
BANANAS.
And I mean, so like it looks like it's making this sci-fi trailer. Um, and I mean, it's actually pretty good at how it was able to do that.
Yeah.
Um, Another one was this prompt of a drone view of waves crashing against cliffs. And I can see like some big applications for this. I mean, normally, like if you wanted stock footage for that, you'd pay a drone pilot to go out and do that. But now you could just make a prompt and generate your own video.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, this one looks pretty good. I mean, you can tell it's a little AI because it looks a little video gamey because
Yeah. Dust, the
the
dust especially.
yeah, the dust and like the steadiness of the camera is not something that you would get in real life. But, taking that out, I mean, that's still pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
And these puppies playing in snow.
Dude, it's you can still tell a little bit like with the mouth of the puppy, but still overall, this is crazy. This is so crazy.
Yeah. I mean, this is coming closer and closer to looking realistic.
Yeah. And I
And
think oh go
oh,
ahead.
go
So
ahead. Yeah,
no,
I
no,
mean, this is like really cool. And I still think that it has quite a long way to go before it is completely there, but it's getting closer. And I think this is causing more need for concern. And I think, I mean, I can already see like malicious things that could come up with this. I mean, we've got an election year coming up. I mean, people would probably do stuff centered around that, but I think this is really cool. And I think once I have the ability to like get hands-on with this, the ability to create some videos with that and put like stock footage into some of the videos that we do, I think it'd be really cool and has some awesome implications.
I agree. It's gonna make video editing so much easier. I agree with all of your sentiments, actually. And I don't think people might, I think people will use this for the upcoming election year and for a lot of other things to spread false news, false rumors, uh, fake information. And like we're already seeing it with like picture generation. Like we're seeing like a lot of fake images come out with the picture generation that are really convincing.
Hmm.
And it's really hard already just with pictures, but now you're gonna have people prompting for video evidence of an act that a celebrity or politician did, and they're gonna prompt it to make it look like it's a realistic handheld iPhone video, right? And then they're gonna get something that looks really good like that, and it'll be very difficult to tell what is real and what's not real. Super cool, super cool. I am really excited to get my hands on this as well. But I agree the need for concern and need for regulation in some shape or form is increasing dramatically.
Yeah.
We really do need some sort of regulation around AI. It's just developing so fast. And I don't think people understand any of us. I'm not saying like other people don't understand and I understand. I don't think any of us understand the full implications that this is going to have on the world. And so I think we need to really be careful about this and say, let's like pause on development and just kind of think about things a little bit deeper here, you
Yeah.
know?
You know what? Probably the only thing that understands its impact is the learned language model itself.
Probably. Probably. I often think of like I bet the large language model is kind of like this is my nerd coming out in the Marvel movies, like the very last or second to last one. Um, Doctor Strange like sees like 14 million different variations of the future. And in my mind, I'm like, I bet the large language model is just like running. You could probably prompt it, but it's probably already doing like algorithms of like what are the implications of development of AI and what are
Hmm.
the routes that it could go. Um, but I agree. I don't think humans have a full understanding of what the potential impact here is.
Yeah. And
So
I think it's just growing so fast and faster than regulators are able or willing to act on it, which is even more scary.
yeah, this is very much like the dot-com boom. You know, when the internet was new and we were young and kids, like it's kind of the Wild West online, you
Yeah.
know? Like anything goes and a lot of scams and a lot of bad things happened online. And over time, after a lot of pain and suffering, regulations came out, the internet started to get cleaned up a little bit, at least to the surface level. right?
Right.
If you wanted to dive deep, you can, still can. But anyway, I think that's kind of what's going to happen. We're going to have to learn by trial and error and by fire. And
Hmm.
so, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. But really cool. I'm excited for this to be a little bit more widespread, and I can't wait to be able to get to test this out.
Same. Yep. Speaking of innovation, I'll introduce my next article.
Nice.
Uh, nuclear battery startup company, Chinese startup company, Beta Volt. They developed, get this, a nuclear battery that can generate, this is what they claim, 50 years of energy without needing to charge or maintain your phone or whatever device it's in. This is a small nuclear battery that they're planning on putting in handheld devices and lots of other tech devices. And blew my mind when I thought about this. But then my immediate thought came to like nuclear energy and the immediate fear of nuclear waste, and then also what the impact is of nuclear energy on a human body, right?
Mhm.
But overall, this is a huge innovation in my mind and a pretty big leap in battery technology. And they're planning to apply it in lots of different sectors, not just handheld devices, but mobile phones, like I said, drones, aerospace, AI equipment, medical devices, more. Um, Apparently, like the science behind it, this is beyond my full understanding and my knowledge, but utilizes nickel 63 isotopes to convert energy, which is released by the decaying isotopes, and they turn that into electricity. And anyway, pretty gnarly stuff. I think nuclear is a scary word. And so I'm curious to know what the safety parameters are and how people will react to a nuclear battery. But what do you think about this? Do you think this is going to be adopted? Do you think other tech companies are going to try and build their own nuclear battery as well? Um, what are your thoughts on the impact of this? Do you think it's legit? I'm
I
curious to
think
know your
this
take.
I think this is really cool. I think the only way that this would receive mass adoption is if they rebrand it as something else. Because I
Hmm.
think nuclear is a trigger word in society, and people have a lot of fear of that, when in reality, it can be pretty safe with a lot of the proper precautions to it.
Yeah.
And so when I first saw this, I thought this was extremely cool. And thinking of all the applications that this could have and the benefit that it could have, I mean, like if you were to put this in electric vehicles, that would like solve a lot of the problems and gripes that people have with electric vehicles. Also, it would solve the problem that we have on the tax of electric vehicles on the grid system.
Yeah.
So,
That's really true. That's a really good point, actually.
and you could use it to power up your house in the event of a blackout. So, I'm thinking like of all the applications that this could have, this could have some really huge benefits if it was able to have mass adoption in society.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I didn't even think about it like on a larger scale. I was thinking more of just like smaller consumer devices. But yeah, that's really interesting take on the rebrand as well. I'll touch on the rebrand in just a minute, like because I kind of agree with you on that. But I want to go back to the last point you made of using it for your house and your car and things like that. Not only would it offload the stress on electrical grids, but we know nuclear energy is the cleanest energy.
Mhm.
And so, if we truly want to get to clean energy, nuclear batteries and nuclear energy is the way to go.
Right.
The problem with that, the reason why the world has adopted nuclear energy even more so, like what I mean is each city could have their own nuclear power plant to supply power, and that would provide immense clean energy. And the reason why we haven't done that is the other point you made, which is there's so much fear around nuclear and nuclear energy. And I think it's because of incidents that have happened in the past, like in
Hmm.
Japan, Chernobyl, and nuclear bombs. These are
Right.
things that people are aware of, and they think destruction, decay, lots of death, and so there's a lot of fear around it. So I wonder if they are to push this, if they're gonna keep the nuclear battery brand, or at least that's their way of describing it. Um, I think. What are your thoughts on if you were to rebrand it? How would you how would you market it in the consumer market? I'm
Uh,
curious to know because I have some ideas myself, but let's just say let's do this. We're on the Beta Volt marketing team, and they're
okay.
like, guys, people don't like nuclear. Got to come up with something else. Let's have a brainstorm session. What are we doing here? What are we doing? All right, not nuclear. What do we got? What are your thoughts?
Well, because marketing, you don't have to tell the truth. You could say that.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. It
I
doesn't have
mean,
to be 100% true.
right. You just got to flirt with that line of truth and
That's
deceptiveness.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, as long as it's not clearly untrue, you're fine.
Right, exactly. You could probably say that this is perpetual energy.
Ooh, perpetual. Okay.
I mean, it's not really because, that would be like something similar to the sun.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I'm questioning perpetual. Like, is it really?
It's a bit of it's a stretch.
It is. It is a stretch, but I agree. Like, from a marketing perspective, that's a really good take on it, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I like the idea of leveraging how it's nuclear, like nickel 63 isotope, like an ISO battery or something like that. Like Beta Volt launches 50-year battery that doesn't need charging, the ISO battery, or
Yeah.
something like, or like the elemental battery, something like that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
because
something that just confuses the crap out of people.
yeah, it's where like they're not gonna question it. They're just gonna be like, oh, that's just what
Yeah.
it is. It's kind of like iPhone. No one really knows how an iPhone's really made and what's inside of it. They're just like, I just know it works, you
Right.
know? And so maybe that's how they take it. Coming out hard with nuclear battery though, they're gonna get pushed back on that, I think.
I think they are too. Um, but I mean, like me who has knows enough about nuclear energy to be dangerous. I think it's really cool. And like hearing that they made a nuclear battery really excites me. And I
Yeah, I think
think,
it's yeah. I don't think there's been a lot of disruption in the battery space. And I it's something that everyone uses every day all the time.
yeah.
In some way, shape, or form, we're using a battery somewhere, somehow. And not only that, but we don't use them every day, or we use them every day. But on top of that, this could replace other things that we use that don't use the battery, but it's like a direct feed from electricity. You right?
Hmm.
So we could just replace it. So and I think there's a lot of use cases. So it's exciting.
Yeah. Great to great to see where this goes. And if they can come up with a marketable way to put this into mainstream, that opens up a lot of opportunities for other companies to adopt similar technology.
Yeah. All right. Maybe this is a bad question to ask before
Oh,
we
go
get
for
into
it.
if you're on the marketing team for Beta Volt, let's do what are some names of the battery that you should never ever do that plays off of nuclear? What are your
Oh,
thoughts? Just like the opposite of the marketing team. Like if you want to drive this to the ground.
oh, if you want to drive this to the ground.
And hold on, before we get into this, this may not be the best thing to do on a podcast. I may get canceled thinking of the things that I have.
Um,
That's freaking bad.
now
Uh,
I'm curious. I think you've got to go first with this one.
I just think of like all the different bad things that have happened with nuclear, and my thought just goes to the Hiroshima battery. Hiroshima battery. It's nuclear, baby.
Yeah, Hiroshima battery. That would be bad.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that would be pretty bad.
yeah. Um, Probably like atomic leak battery. That would be pretty bad too.
That's true.
Um,
The decay battery. I like that one. The
Nuke
decay battery.
juice. That would be a really good name.
What'd you say?
Nuke juice.
Nuke juice is great. I love nuke juice. That would be
Um,
phenomenal for it.
I think radium reservoir. That would be cool.
Radium reservoir. That's good. I think of
Uh,
like if they did um something off of the word decay, and they could be like uh decay away your chargers, or something like that.
yeah, I like that.
I think you play off of that. Um
Hmm.
or
Maybe the isotope igniter.
isotope igniter is good. I like the double I. Or they just go nuclear battery. Um, let's see. I'm just trying to play off of like bad nuclear energy situations around the world and just how you could play with that in the marketing. Um, nuclear battery uh, radiate away charging time, or like
Radiate away.
yeah, you don't have to worry about radiation, or I don't know, something dumb like that. But it'd be kind of fun to play with it.
Yeah, it would be really fun to do that. We should probably trademark nuke juice and propose that as the name
Dude,
for
I
the
just
bat.
Googled nuke juice. I just Googled nuke juice. I think that's freaking hilarious. I think G Fuel has a flavor called nuke juice. Oh, they did. But nuke juice is dope. I actually really like that a lot. That's so awesome. Is it in a game? Is nuke juice in a game?
I don't know.
Maybe it is.
I think it's got to be somewhere because there's nothing
It's
new
so
under the
catchy.
sun.
It's so catchy. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was great. Nuke juice. I think that was the best one. Oh man, my car's dying. I got some nuke juice for you. Let me just plug that in real quick.
Yeah, just plug that in.
Dude, that sounds great.
I like it.
Anyway, glad we got that out of the way.
Yeah. All right. Do you have anything else for us tonight?
That's it from my end.
All right. Well, that's it for me too. We'll leave on a high note there. So we want to thank everyone for sticking with us through our show and supporting us. Make sure you give us a thumbs up. That really does help our channel. Make sure you give us a thumbs up if you liked it. And if you didn't like it, I guess that other button works all right too. Make sure you send it to somebody you disliked. I think they could use this video. Always make sure you ring-a-ling that ding-a-ling button so you never miss out on any content as it's posted on the channel. So until next time, stay classy and have a great evening.
Get your nuke juice here. Peace.